Hello there, and in this video, you already found the guide on how to progress in the beginning, but for now, I can see that the developers actually released three different banners for three different units, and as a global player who just started today, I know that you might be wondering whether these units are any good or they are worth summoning, because as you know, or as you may not know, once you summon in these banners, even if you don't get a unit in 200 mystical scrolls, you will be guaranteed to get it from this banner. So basically, it's sort of a guaranteed choice whether you want to summon it or not, and you will be able to get 200 scrolls pretty easily if you just do a lot of events, all of the story quests, area exploration quests. So yeah, you'll be able to collect those pretty easy, and today I'll answer a question whether any of these are useful, and I'll explain where they are useful, so you could go in with the mindset on whether, for example, you want to focus more on PvP or more on PvE and stuff like that. So yeah, to summon it, you can get the unit with a very high chance from mystical scrolls themselves. I think each mystical scroll is like 0.4%, meaning that by the time you summon 200 of them, there's like over an 80% chance that you will get it. But even if you don't, you are guaranteed one from here. So let's go over what all of the monsters do, and this time I'll try to explain it pretty quickly so I don't waste too much of your time. Since I had to play against all three of these units quite a bit, I will give you a perspective of the player who has already been dealing with them for a few months. So the Fire Desert Queen, her skills are, the first skill is very basic, just some multiplier of attack. Her second skill hits everyone in a certain range and applies silence for 8 seconds. Since it's 3 hits, this 60% chance becomes way higher. In total it's like over 90%, so you're pretty much guaranteed to land the skill. And the third skill actually steals all beneficial effects from one target, and actually takes it to herself as well, not just remove them. And if she stole successfully, you will actually also place defense down on the enemy for 20 seconds. So this unit, of course, I'm not going to be covering ultimates because I personally don't find them that useful, but yeah, the ultimate is just a bit of a higher multiplier and steal all beneficial effects. So this skill will usually be used more for PvE, I would say. If you're using her for PvP, you will in most cases be using her for the second skill, where you are able to silence every single enemy with that AoE ability. This one is useful in PvP sometimes, but keep in mind that since it's single target and the mana cost is pretty decent for a single target skill, she is not the best stripper in PvP, and in the future there will be a unit called the Fire Oracle, which will be by far the best stripper that will be released. So if you need a stripper for PvP, I do not recommend SEKHMET, but if you wanted a unit that is overall strong in PvP due to his silence, as well as having actually really high multipliers on their skills, so for example you can see 232 times 3, that's close to 700. This one is close to 1000. This is like one of the highest multipliers in the game overall. Yeah, she will be an amazing unit for setting up some PvP fights, disabling enemies. She will do decent damage, and most importantly, she will be amazing in PvE. Not in every dungeon, mostly for those where you need to steal debuffs, but that includes pretty much a few dungeons in the Path of Growth. That includes guild raids, that includes some regular raids, and yeah, you'll just be able to use her for quite a bit, and she will be a very good starter unit for those beginner PvP teams. Eventually, for PvP wise, you might phase her out for different units, but even till today's day, when fighting in PvP, I do see her quite often, so definitely a very safe pick to pick. And overall, from the three banners, she is my go-to, well, not my go-to, but I would say the best pick of the three banners. Then we'll go to the Water Hell Lady and review her skills real quickly. So yeah, her skills. First ability, nothing special there. Second ability, swings a chill side to attack an enemy target 2 times. This is only a single target attack. The first hit increases the duration of silence and applies attack down per hit with a certain chance. This attack ignores the target's death denial effect and the defeated egg cannot be derived. If you're unsure what the death denial is, basically it's a skill that ignores endure. Some units that have endure will be Cleave, most importantly, because one of his main passives is deceiving endure when he drops to 0 HP, so she is an amazing counter to Cleave. Another very annoying unit that gets hit by Hell Ladies very easily, so this guy. This guy has a very similar passive to Cleave, except that he can provide it to any summoner, meaning that a lot of Kinas and Orbeez, and especially Orbeez, use him for the passive as well as some healing. So if you see a Water Beetle Knight, basically he does protect the summoner from death, and she is an amazing counter to that as well. She also helps in some dungeons, so stuff like the Path of Growth, the what's it called, Laboratory of Madness, where the boss actually gets endure for a very long time as well. She is able to counter those, and some Galagos Ruins stages. I believe Galagos Ruins isn't out on Globe. Oh, it is, it is. Is it not? No, update coming soon. She will be very nice in here as well, because there is an annoying boss, the same one as Path of Growth, where the only way to counter it pretty much early is to just break through that endure. So while she isn't that good in PvE, she is a very nice PvP pick for certain situations. She will definitely not work in every scenario, but she will work for some of them, and for those some scenarios that she has, she will be an amazing unit for it. And yeah, her third skill, let me quickly the awaken one. Gallops and slams a chill side to attack the enemy target 3 times. Each hit has a certain chance to apply silence and recovers its HP based on its attack. So yeah, about the skill, it's a single target, so the silence is pretty much very similar. It's actually quite identical, 3 times 60% rate, except it's single target compared to SEKHMET's multi-target. So this sort of skill is really not that good. The recovery you're seeing here is also very sort of subpar, and the recovery itself will usually not matter that much. So you are mostly using her for the second skill, where you are able to remove those enemies who can abuse the invincibility effect. So whether I would pick her from these 3 banners, personally no. If I had to make one choice, I would go for SEKHMET. If I wanted to save my skulls for other units, and trust me, the future released units will be a lot better than what's offered there as far as the Water Hell Lady goes. So personally I wouldn't, but if you have a lot of leftover skulls, and if you feel like Death Denial is something you really need, definitely go for it. She's not the worst unit by far, but also definitely not a top pick as far as PvP goes, and definitely not much use in PvP other than countering that specific dungeon. And the last one is the Winged Monkey King, and let me see where he is, right here. So let's review his skills. His basic attack is pretty decent here, so swings the monkey wand to attack the enemy target and uses Ascension Strike with a certain chance, so a little bit higher multiplier and 20% chance to use this skill. And this is basically a follow-up skill which will have a decent chance to stun for 3 seconds, so he does benefit from a high attack speed build, and the unit itself is more focused on PvP, but we'll discuss that after reading the skills. His second skill is Rise the Monkey Cloud and leaps to the enemy target to attack, removes a beneficial effect from the target and applies attack speed up to itself. So he has a very good multiplier for the cooldown and the mana cost of the skill. He might remove one beneficial effect, of course you need accuracy for that, but this is not the reason why you would want to use him. And if you need a stripper, I do recommend going for SEKHMET or waiting for the Fire Oracle, which will completely dominate the whole PvP, because currently, if you check the rankings on the American server, you'll notice that around 70% of the defenses in Arena have Juno in there, and even more people use her in Brawl Arena. So yeah, she's completely insane, and if you need a unit for stripper, Wind Monkey is not the one. And his turn skill swings the monkey 1 to attack the enemy target 3 times. Each hit has a certain chance to apply defense down, and the last hit attacks the enemies within the area. So 2 single hits, basically. Yeah, no, actually 3 single hits, and then the last hit will be an AoE damage. It applies level 1 defense break. Again, if you need a defense breaker, like a specifically for defense break, he's not the guy. He's there for basically allowing you to have these effects in PvP scenarios, because in PvP scenarios it's pretty easy, especially in live arena, to ban a certain unit and your combo might be broken. So in those scenarios you are just picking units that are good overall, and as an overall unit he does provide a lot. He's very good in PvP. He's not amazing in PvP, but you can find some use for it, because for PvP you're mostly looking for damage dealers that specialize in damage skills, especially skills that scale with debuffs or scale with certain stats. He does not do that. His multipliers are decent, especially on this skill, but yeah. If you're looking a specialized debuffer, he's not it. If you're looking a specialized PvE damage dealer, he's not it. But if you're looking for an overall good PvP unit, he's pretty decent. However, he will require sort of specific teams to build around it. He will not be a unit that you use for a one-shot comp, for example. He's there sort of a bruiser unit. You're there using him for these longer drawn-out fights. You're not going for a one-shot. You're not going full tanky. He's sort of a bruiserish type, and you're aiming to do battles that last a few minutes, not a few seconds. So if you're a fan of those, I do recommend looking into him. And his passive, it's a 7 single cooldown at max level, and it applies damage taken down to itself when a team member is attacked, and counterattacks the target with Ascension Strike. So level 1 damage taken down for 14 seconds when a team member is attacked. So he is able to keep this permanently as long as you have some allies on your team still. And when team member is attacked, it also uses Ascension Strike. This is pretty similar to the first skill follow-up, except that the multiplier, it looks like multiplier is actually the same. So yeah, very similar to this skill. Basically, he will be counting a lot. He will be stunning quite a bit. So if you're fighting a team without any buffs, without any immunity or sort of stuff like that, he will be amazing, especially if he is not the main tank, because this passive does not activate if he is hit, only if any other members are hit. This of course means that you must run a few tankier units, because your units first of all have to survive those hits that are being dealt on. Second of all, you will most likely need a second frontline unit, because he will stand in the front line, and if he's the only frontline unit, there is a good chance that he will simply be the one getting hit instead of another unit getting hit. So keep in mind that you must run him with another frontline unit, otherwise he will simply lose out on a lot of passives. And yeah, overall, a very good PvP unit. He was a bruiser, so he's not a one-shot type. He will be there for those longer drawn-out fights, and he will perform very well in Brawl Arena. Perhaps a bit less in regular Challenge Arena, because Challenge Arena is more geared towards one-shots, as you can control all of the units that are picked in there, as well as see the defense up front. But for Brawl Arena, he's amazing. He's simply amazing. Definitely by far the best unit out of the 3 banners, I would say, as far as Brawl Arena usefulness goes. So yeah, overall, my thoughts on this banner is SEKHMET if you're focusing PvE, and for some PvP users. Second place, Winged Monkey King, very good in PvP, especially live PvP, but will not add much to your progress. And Water Hell Lady, if you're looking for a specific counter to some units like a Cliff Summoner, Water Beetle, other than that, but overall I wouldn't pick her personally. Out of these 3, SEKHMET of course the main choice. If I had a lot of scrolls, say like 1,000 scrolls, I would only summon the Fire Queen. I am not a fan of the fights that the Wind Monkey brings, so like these long drawn out bruiserish fights. I like to go into PvP with a very damage oriented team and end those battles in a few seconds. So Not my playstyle, but it might work for you. And well, Hail Lady, I just simply wouldn't find use myself, so I wouldn't pick her. And yeah, I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one.